Hello everybody and welcome to Donna's Motives Part 2, and I just wanted to go over Donna's Motives Part 1, and I'll be showing my old video at the end of this video. It's from 2 years ago, the motives that we all knew at the time, but I've added a few new motives to the list. So let's just go over Donna's motives in the murder of Dan Markel. In Part 1 I have Donna's main motive was Wendy moving to South Florida. We had much more general knowledge of the reasons were a little bit more vague back then. We'll play that clip at the end. Donna wanted to stop the legal battle with Dan Markel. Donna wanted to make Charlie happy because Charlie hated Dan. I think that was part of it. Donna wanted Wendy to get the money out of their home and protect Wendy's assets and also get the divorce money that Dan owed to her out of the divorce. Wendy also was having her law license threatened. So it's a lot of money to spend on school to have Wendy have her law license revoked. So those were the motives I knew at the time 2 years ago. So let's move on to the motives. More recently, other motives have become more common knowledge, like the Social Security payments that Wendy gets every month per child. I believe it's somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a month that Wendy benefits, so that they didn't have to pay her legal fees anymore. In fact, Wendy benefited financially from Dan Markel's murder. Also, I was reading Ruth's book. In the chapter about Wendy, she talks about how difficult the struggle was of the kosher diet, how much Wendy was struggling with having the boys eat kosher, and how many times Donna asked Ruth Markel why the boys were strict kosher and Ruth Markel wasn't. So I know that I live in North Florida and I have tried to eat kosher from time to time, and it's very hard to find food. So, and that was Dan's wishes, but Donna just couldn't understand why. She says in that chapter, Wendy, that Donna asked her many times why the boys were strict kosher. It was a huge hot button issue. So then also we know that Donna was very set on Wendy having a new husband, and the guy's name was Dave, and he was a rich guy, and they wanted Wendy to try her hardest to find a new dad for these boys. They didn't think that Dan was holding up. They didn't like Dan anymore, so they wanted Wendy to find a new husband, and it was obviously Dave. Also, I think that it's pretty obvious that Donna truly believed that she could be a better mother than Wendy. She said in that phone call, she calls the boys her boys, and she was a kindergarten teacher, and she, on the Wheel of Fortune, calls herself the domestic coordinator, and she was a stay-at-home mother, and Wendy had to work and take care of the kids. Donna's so obsessed with trying to prove that she's such a good mom, and obviously we know where she is. She's a terrible mother, and but also keeping the Adelson Institute open for the last 5 or 6 years was so important to Donna and Harvey. They made probably upwards of $4,000 a day before this bad press probably got onto the Adelsons and this murder for hire. They probably were making about $3,000, $4,000 a day, just hand over fist. And every time they went up to Tallahassee, they were losing money. And we hear all about that in the phone call. So it's a huge motive. I'm going to go ahead and send it to the old clip of Part 1. And maybe I had elaborated a little bit more on some of these things. And also let me know in the comments below if you can think of any more. I think that the top motive that Donna felt was really holding back Wendy not being able to move to South Florida with her children because of the custody agreement. And this involved a lot of travel for Donna and Harvey to go see the children, which meant having to take on less patients, more workload on Charlie. That was a strain on the family, whether we understand it or not. I just know that that was discussed in the case, that was a major thing, getting Wendy to South Florida so the kids could have more time with their grandparents and less travel away from the Adelson Institute, which is now closed, which we found from Yelp. Okay, so the next thing I believe was a motive for Donna was to stop this legal battle and all of the money that they were funneling into this divorce. I believe that Donna and Harvey were the ones footing most of the bills for Wendy's divorce, and it was very expensive. And I believe that probably more than anything at the time, they wanted to stop having to pay Wendy's expensive lawyers, and they wanted Wendy to have primary custody and stop having to pay these bills and having to travel as much to see the kids. And the next thing that I believe Donna's motive was, she was very close to Charlie, and I believe that more than anything, she wants to make her children happy and make Charlie happy, because I believe that Charlie got angry when he probably had to take on more patients and watch the Adelson Institute and probably maybe even help out with some of these legal bills. And so maybe Donna believed that getting Wendy to South Florida would make Charlie happy, because then Harvey wouldn't have to travel as much. That's a complicated one. I'm not sure. We'll go more into that in Charlie's motives. All right. So the main thing that Donna probably wanted Wendy to have from this settlement was, from the divorce, was a settlement of money that was from selling the house and their assets. And I believe that she just wanted Wendy to just move on from this and get her money and probably hide the assets that Wendy was wanting to hide from the settlement and reach an agreement, and just think that she just wanted this to benefit Wendy and have Wendy get as much money as she needed to raise the kids. And so money was definitely a motive for Wendy and for the Adelson family to stop having to pay for this expensive divorce. And then the last thing that I realized in this past week was, I believe that the straw that broke the camel's back was when Dan started going after Wendy's law license. And I believe that any parent who would pay for a child's expensive law school and undergraduate and graduate programs. I believe she went to Brandeis University, then studied at Cambridge. Then I believe she studied a little bit Miami University, where she met Dan. But those are expensive programs. No matter where you go to school, law programs are very expensive. And the fact that Dan was threatening to take away Wendy's law license probably enraged the Adelsons. And I'm not saying that that's what led to murder, but I'm saying that maybe people who caught wind of that took matters into their own hands and felt like this anger and rage was warranting a murder for hire. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and liking and subscribing. I hope that you enjoy this video. Maybe we'll make a part 3 if you all can think of more evidence and motives concerning Donna Adelson. I'm also going to do some Valentine's videos, some old throwbacks of Charlie's jail file, and I hope that you all are having a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day as well. Thank you for watching and liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful day.